What's up, rich people? Today I want to talk about Liquity and a few different ways you could use the protocol to take the wealth you want. Okay, I want to show you how to borrow. I want to show you how to leverage safely, relatively safely, and I want to show you how to earn some yield even using the Liquity protocol. So liquity.org is the main information page. You could go to borrow now. So it has a bunch of different front ends. They differ slightly in different ways. The main difference is the kickback rate, which you'll understand a little bit later in the video. One of my favorite front ends is liquity.app just because it has a lot more information on it. But maybe I'll probably show you how to use a couple of the other ones because they have different utilities. So as you can see, there are a lot of different stats here. First off, I just want to show you how to borrow against your ETH. The great thing is you can borrow against your ETH at a very low interest rate, at a 0% interest rate with a very low upfront fee. Okay, so I'll just show you. So if you put up one ETH as collateral, you can borrow 1,800 LUSD, which is equivalent to $1,800. The first time you borrow, they'll take a $200 LUSD reserve, and this is to subsidize the transaction costs in case your trove gets liquidated. Now, you don't get this deposit gets returned to you if you don't get liquidated. So it's up to you. It's up to you. Try not to get liquidated. Okay. The borrowing fee is very low. This is 0.5%. So there's 0% annual fee and a 0.5% upfront fee. Your total debt is $2,009, but like I said, that $200 gets returned to you as long as you don't get liquidated. So here's a really important number to understand. That's the liquidation price, and accounts get liquidated when their collateralization ratio goes below 110%. Okay, so right now, given these numbers, you're at 175%. That's when they're in the protocol is in normal mode. Normal mode is when the total collateral ratio is at above 150%. So this calculated by the TVL, which is 1.86 billion in ETH, and the total LUSD supply, right? So that is 292%. Okay. If this goes below 150%, the protocol goes into kind of an emergency backstop mode, and the liquidation, the collateralization ratio goes up to 150%. So now every account that is above 150% is eligible for liquidation, and that means your liquidation price goes up higher. So right now ETH is at 34.92. Given normal given normal mode, your liquidation price is 22.09, and that's at 110% collateral ratio. If ETH, let's say, were to drop really quickly, were to have a huge drop down very fast, it's possible for the protocol to have a very low TVL, but the LUSD supply didn't decrease as much, and that means that it could go into recovery mode and your liquidation price will be much higher now. So keep that in mind, okay? So with this, your collateral ratio is 175% given these parameters. I just want to show you what happens when you try to confirm. I'm probably not going to confirm this. I'm not going to confirm this transaction. I don't want this, but I want to show you what happens. So I use my ledger attached to my MetaMask. I always use a hardware wallet, which is my ledger. I'd recommend using either Trezor or a Grid Plus because that's the safest way to go. Everyone should use a hardware wallet. Okay. Now the default parameters for a max priority fee, which is a tip that goes to miners that you want to incentivize them to take your transaction. I usually set that at 2. The max fee is 97.5 Gwei. Given that the base fee is 93, there is a chance that there could be higher demand over the next couple blocks, and the base fee could increase, and you could have to wait for your transaction. This is going to be up to you if you want to wait and wait for it to go back down. I'm impatient. I like to get my transactions through right away, and in order to guarantee that, I set my max fee higher, right? So let's say it's at 150. This just says this is the max fee I'm willing to pay. It doesn't mean it's the fee that I'm going to pay. I'm going to pay the base fee no matter what it is. That's the minimum fee I'm going to pay. Okay. On the off chance there's a really huge demand, spike. Let's say there's an NFT drop over the next block or two, and this spikes to 120, 130 as a base fee in Gwei, I'll still be able to get through. If it goes over 150, I'm not going to get through, which I don't think is very likely over the next few blocks. So I keep that at 150. The max you'll pay is $310. This is likely what you're going to pay, about 167. Okay? Keep all that in mind. Just a little tip. So I don't want to do this transaction. I highly recommend Block Native to keep track of the base fee. I'm not going to do this transaction. I'm going to reject it. We're going to go back to the Liquity app. So let's say you confirm the transaction and you have $1,800 in LUSD, which is just about the minimum, the minimum loan you could take out in the Liquity app anyway. So what can you do with it? Well, you can do whatever you want with it. It's your dollars, right? You could exchange it for USDC. You could cash it out. You could but what you want to do if you do hold on to it, if you ever see that the price of LUSD is less than $1, the protocol always treats on the market, like if it's on Matcha or Uniswap, it's selling for less than $1. The protocol always treats one LUSD as equivalent to $1. So it has this redemption feature. And Liquity.app doesn't have this for some reason. You can't redeem here. But what you could do is go to the front end, go to LQTY. And LQTY, this front end, this interacts with the same smart contract. You're going to see your trove here. If you're connected to this UI, you're going to see the same numbers. Everything's going to be the same. You go to the redemption feature, and you can redeem your 1,800 LUSD for exactly $1,800 in ETH, as the link Oracle says it is, right? So what this does, it doesn't change your trove at all. It basically pays down another trove's debt and pays down their debt and takes their ETH, and you get their ETH. So that trove is net equal, where it doesn't lose money, it doesn't gain money, it just has less exposure to ETH. And the way that they do that is only the accounts that are the most risky, so with the lowest collateralization ratio, are first up for redemption. So if LUSD ever does lose its peg, the first accounts that are going to get redeemed against will be the lowest collateralized accounts. So if you don't want to get redeemed against, I definitely recommend keeping your collateralization high enough so that other people get redeemed against first. So something else you could do with your borrowed LUSD is you can just go onto the open market and you can buy more ETH, put that back in as collateral, and go lever long. Okay, so that could take multiple transactions and costs a lot of gas, right? Costs you more fees. Or you can do that on a different front end. You could go to DeFi Saver, connect your wallet. So if you already have an account using another front end, your account will show up here. There, in order to use the more complicated transactions, you have to open up a smart wallet, which basically gives permission to DeFi Saver to do these more complicated transactions. You still have total control of the wallet. Nobody could touch your funds. It's still non-custodial. So just keep that in mind. This is so you open up a smart contract. If you want to borrow regularly, just like you would in the Liquity app, you can do that. You can just put in your 1 ETH there, and the minimum is still 1,800, and you still have all these numbers. Or if you want to go levered, you can put up your 1 ETH. So just to compare, so your max here is 2,700, right? And that's going to get you liquidated at 32.78, which when the price is 34.32. So that's the max here. If you go levered and you take this LUSD into your wallet, if you go levered and you have 1 ETH, if you go to the max, it's 27,000. Just to give you an idea of what's happening here. Because what this does is it takes this 27,000, it buys more ETH, puts that back into your trove, and goes and gives you leverage. Right now, you don't want to do this high leverage, obviously, because it's really easy to get liquidated since ETH is really volatile. You can play with this. You can find the right leverage you're comfortable with and the right liquidation price you're comfortable with. So let's say you want to be a little more conservative and you're investing, you think it's around the top of the market, you think ETH is going to crash soon, or you just don't want to risk your dollars. What you can do is act as a stability provider. We can go to the Liquity app UI, and what you could do is deposit your LUSD into the stability pool. Now, what the stability pool does is it acts as the first line of defense to maintain the solvency of the Liquity protocol. When troves become under collateralized, so let's say their collateralization ratio falls below 110%, there's going to be an amount of LUSD that's burned that's equivalent to that trove's debt, and then the ETH is going to be transferred to that stability pool. So the pool basically will be the first line to get ETH at a discount. And as time goes on, there will be less and less LUSD and more ETH. But the dollar amount will be more because it will be more than the LUSD that's burnt because you're getting it at a discount, right? They also incentivize this with Liquity rewards, right? Liquity token rewards. And right now it's 13%. And you could use a Liquity token to actually stake it and get a portion of the fees earned. So these fees are going to be coming from the borrowing fees, and they're also going to be coming from the redemption fees, right? Anytime you redeem, you're paying a 0.5% fee there too. So just to touch back on the stability pool and the Liquity APR you get, so that's where this kickback comes in. So we're going to go back to the front ends, and this kickback is what they're talking about. So if Liquity app pays a 99% kickback rate, that means you get 99% of this Liquity APR, and the 1% goes to the Liquity app team. And the same thing with all these others. So the closer, like the 100% is what you want to go for, although some may have other fees tacked on. Just keep that in mind. Okay. So back to the stability pool. Okay. So if you do use a stability pool, you're actually going to end up with ETH. And let's say ETH is crashing. Some people don't necessarily want to be exposed to ETH as it is crashing, especially because people are going to be they're more likely going to be more and more liquidations as ETH is crashing. So a way to solve that problem is to go and use b.protocol, which is a smart contract that is linked to the Liquity protocol. And what it does is you can put your LUSD into the b.protocol, into the stability pool. You still get your Liquity rewards, you still get your Liquity APR, you can still stake. And what it does is it actually sells your ETH right away in the market instead of being exposed to it as ETH is crashing. Right? This is pretty great. And you get all the benefits of getting discounted ETH, and you still make your profits without being exposed to ETH as it's crashing. Now, another issue is you still accumulate your Liquity rewards, but you have to manually stake it. So you'd have to stake it every time it accumulates. A way to solve that problem is to go and use Pickle Finance. Okay, so you could enter the app. My wallet's already connected, and you can go to the jars and farms, and you can go down to b.protocol, right? b.protocol USD. So what this does is let's see if we could refresh this and get the right percentage there. Okay, it popped up. So what this does, what Pickle Finance does, is it still uses b.protocol. It's still attached to b.protocol. It'll sell your ETH as troves are getting liquidated, but it also automatically stakes your Liquity tokens now. So it's auto compounded. So instead of the 13% APR you get here, because it's compounded, you get 15.76%. And it also shows 1.18% for liquidations, but this percentage, I would guess, probably increases as more and more troves are liquidated and as ETH is more volatile and starts to dump faster. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So this is kind of the magic of DeFi. Everything is kind of linked together. Everything works together. Everything's composable, and it's really great. So none of this was financial advice. I'm not saying you should do this. I just want to give you the options. I just want to give you some options to do with your money, whatever you want. Okay. I hope you make all the money in the world, and good luck.